You know that moment when a conversation ends, but your mind doesn't? You replay it. The tone of your voice, that one sentence you could have said differently, a pause that now feels too long, too awkward, too revealing. And hours later, it's still there, quietly looping. There's a certain kind of person who lives like this, not just thinking, but revisiting, reanalyzing, reconstructing moments long after they've passed. Most people don't really understand it. They call it overthinking, say it like it's unnecessary, like it's something you could just turn off if you tried hard enough. But what they miss is that this isn't random. It's not a flaw in your personality. It's a pattern. And there's more going on here than people realize. What looks like overthinking is often your brain trying to create certainty in a world that rarely gives it. From a psychological perspective, this is tied to how the brain processes ambiguity and potential threat. The mind doesn't like loose ends. It prefers closure, predictability. So when something feels unresolved, a conversation, a decision, even a subtle emotional reaction, it keeps working. Not to torture you, but to protect you. Neuroscience shows that the same areas of the brain involved in problem solving are also active when we ruminate. It's the brain treating your thoughts like unfinished problems, as if somewhere, buried in all that analysis, is the one version of events that would have made everything feel safe. And if you look closely, this pattern usually didn't appear out of nowhere. It often began in environments where understanding people mattered, where reading between the lines wasn't optional, it was necessary. Maybe emotions weren't always clearly expressed. Maybe reactions felt unpredictable, so your mind learned to scan, to anticipate, to think ahead, to stay a step ahead of discomfort. Over time, that becomes automatic, not because you prefer it, but because at some point it worked. And it's important to say this clearly. This way of thinking isn't better or worse than any other. Some people move quickly through experiences. Others process them deeply. Neither is more correct. They're just different ways of being wired. But here's where it gets more complex. The same mind that protects you can also trap you, because the more you search for the perfect interpretation, the more possibilities you create. And instead of finding clarity, you end up with more uncertainty, more versions, more doubt. It becomes a loop where the effort to feel settled actually keeps you unsettled. And yet, inside that pattern, there's something else, a quiet strength, the ability to reflect, to notice subtle shifts, to understand layers in people and situations that others might miss entirely. That depth isn't accidental. It's part of the same system. So the goal isn't to become someone who never thinks deeply. It's not about shutting your mind off. It's about recognizing what your mind is trying to do and gently deciding when it's done enough. Because you're not broken for thinking this way. You're responding exactly as your experiences taught you to. And once you start seeing it like that, something changes. Not all at once, but slowly. The loop loses a bit of its grip, and in its place, there's a little more space. If this felt familiar, there's probably another layer to the way you experience the world that hasn't been fully named yet.